thing you've been avoiding the conversation, you're dodging the workout you promised yourself, the project that's been gathering dust on your to-do list. You've probably crafted 100 excuses to delay it. I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes as not because you're not ready or too busy. It's because the weight of avoidance has grown heavier than. Your willpower is a quiet resistance that creeps in, pulling you away from what you know you need to do. Think for a moment. How many times have you started only to retreat? How many promises have you broken? A simple example: you put on your workout clothes, ready to begin, but then think after this episode, or I'm too tired. Or today's, not the day. Suddenly delaying for one day becomes the start of a long chain of neglect. Here's the paradox. Avoiding what's hard only makes it harder later. Yes, avoidance gives temporary relief. That short sigh of not now feels calming, but as an illusion. Every time you flee from a challenge, you teach your brain that discomfort is something to escape at all costs. This is a you problem. It's your brain's default design. For thousands of years, our brains evolved to avoid pain and seek safety. But today, we're not protecting ourselves from physical danger. We're guarding against spiritual stagnation. Unless we retrain this mechanism, we'll keep living lukewarm lives, devoid of real achievement. The truth we rarely say aloud: growth doesn't come from comfort. Real growth is born in the hard discomfort. That conversation you fear might open a door to new understanding. That delayed project could hold a pivotal shift for your path. But if you keep running, all you'll find is stagnation. And stagnation over time turns to regret. If you're tired of this cycle, you're not alone. Just know this resistance to change isn't a curse. It's a skill you can learn. It's not about willpower, as you've been told. Is about reframing how you see pain and challenge. The difficulties you face aren't enemies, they're invitations. Your growth lies here. 2. Why hard things feel hard. Have you ever wondered why some things feel harder than they should? Why starting a project you believe in, having a tough conversation, or committing to a habit you know could change your life feels so daunting? It's not about laziness or lack of willpower. The truth: your brain hates difficulty. It's programmed to protect you, conserve energy, and seek shortcuts to instant gratification. This made perfect sense for our ancestors' survival, depended on avoiding risk. But today we live in a world that demands we master the art of facing discomfort, not fleeing it, yet your brain still acts as if you're in the wild. It screams retreat. At the first sign of extra effort, hidden in this resistance is a simple but profound secret. Your brain adores the path of least resistance. Every time you avoid something hard, it rewards you with a hit of relief, a tiny dopamine rush. Yes, the same chemical that makes you feel good when you eat something delicious or hear a favorite song. But dopamine is also what makes it so easy to escape real work and dive into distractions. The problem isn't dopamine itself. It's where we get it now. Modern life is full of effortless rewards, mindless scrolling, binge watching, endless clicks. They give a false sense of achievement without moving us forward. And here's the trap: your brain starts referring these quick hits, seeing challenge as a threat, not an opportunity. Imagine your brain as a muscle. If you spend years avoiding difficulty, you weaken it. Without realizing, it's like deciding to run a marathon. Without ever jogging, the first steps will exhaust you, not because you're incapable, but because you're untrained. Don't expect mental strength to magically appear, because you want it's built through exposure, through friction, persistence, and small, deliberate steps. When you start facing hard tasks, even tiny ones, you train your brain to tolerate discomfort and ignore the inner voice screaming enough. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher emperor, understood this deeply. The obstacle in the path becomes the path. What stands in the way is the way. How often have you seen a challenge as a wall when it's actually a bridge? In today's world of engineered distractions, it's harder than ever to pause and admit we're addicted to avoiding difficulty. These apps aren't just entertaining you, they're hijacking your attention. Every click is like a candy pellet, luring you away from real work, from your real life. Let me paint a picture. A person who's never trained suddenly decides to run miles. Is the problem their ability? No, it's the missing foundation. Untrained muscles and minds buckle under strain. If you spent months or years avoiding mental effort, course, you'll feel drained facing a real task. But just as a body rebuilds with training, so does a mind. Every time you face something hard, even scared, you're reshaping yourself. You're building mental toughness, the ability to persist when you don't feel capable. Think of a time you pushed through a challenge, an exam, a grueling project, a brave decision. Remember how you felt afterward. That deep pride isn't just emotion, it's chemistry. Each time you face discomfort and keep going, you reprogram your brain to see effort as the path to reward, not the enemy. This is why hard things feel hard. They demand courage, not just skill. The courage to stand before what scares you, to endure discomfort, to continue despite doubt. It requires daily commitment in a world offering a million escape routes, but the reward isn't just achievement. It's transformation. Every time you choose a hard path, you don't just improve at the task, you improve at life. You become a stronger, clearer, deeper version of yourself. So next time you're tempted to retreat, remember, what looks like a roadblock is actually a training ground for your mind. The obstacle isn't the end of the road. It's the beginning. Free the price of avoidance. At first, avoidance seems harmless, just delaying. Something small for another day. It's fine, I'll get to it later, I have time. But the truth is very different. Every time you avoid facing what's difficult, you plant a seed that grows over time. A postponed task becomes to an unspoken word, becomes permanent silence, a missed opportunity, becomes years of regret. Avoidance masquerades as temporary relief, but it carries the heaviest cost of all: lost potential, frozen growth, and regret that's hard to silence. Imagine your life as a garden when you show up daily, watering, weeding, planting, you create something worthwhile, but the moment you start ignoring it, not today, weeds creep into ruin, isn't immediate. It's gradual, quiet. Flowers wilt, soil dries, weeds choke. What's left is exactly what avoidance does. It sneaks in as procrastination and becomes chaos you can confront. Every time you retreat from something important, you don't just delay, you make things harder, more distant, more draining. A friend of mine dreamed of launching her own business. She had everything, the idea, skills, even resources, but she kept postponing. Not now, I need to be more ready. Just a little more research. Months turned to years. The clear opportunity began fading. When she finally started, the market had changed. Her confidence had weakened. Fear was greater than ever. The regret was loud and heavier than she'd imagined. The garden she neglected was now overgrown with hesitation, doubt, and unpicked opportunities. Today, in an era where everything is fast and easy, avoidance is simpler than ever. We live in a culture that worships convenience, apps that shortcut every step, tools that think for us, endless entertainment. A tap away, things seem more efficient, but they also make you retreat from the struggle. Why learn a skill when you can outsource it with a click? Why endure difficulty when escape is legal and available? This culture teaches us that struggle is unnecessary, that challenges can always be bypassed, not faced, but reality is different. Real growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It's born in moments of discomfort and decisions that scare you, and showing up even when you want to flee. Think of anyone you admire, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs. Do they get there easily? Absolutely not. They face what you're avoiding. They knew temporary pain is the price of anything worth keeping. It. The struggle isn't a flaw, but proof of the path. The cruel irony of avoidance. It gives temporary relief, but builds nothing real. Worse, it teaches you surrender. You delay one thing, then another, until you're stagnant while the world moves around you. The ultimate feeling, regret. The things you didn't face don't disappear. They stay with you, weighing on your heart, knocking. Whenever you quiet down, you start asking, what if I'd started then? What if I hadn't run? The worst part, you have no satisfying answer, but there's always a way back. It starts when you realize avoidance isn't just a delay, it's a decision with consequences. And when you choose to face things, even with small steps, you reclaim your life, like someone returning to their garden, getting a little dirty, pulling weeds, starting anew. It's tiring, but necessary. Avoidance promises false comfort. Facing things hands you freedom. The longer you wait, the bigger the mess grows. You are stronger than you think. Every time you face something hard, even scared, you prove to yourself that you can endure, overcome, succeed. So when you catch yourself avoiding something important, stop and ask, what will I lose if I don't face this? Now, you might not see the answer immediately, but with time, you'll see its mark on your life, your decisions, your sense of self. Choose to show up, choose to start, tend your garden. Even when the path is hard, it may not be easy, but it's always worth it. For reprogram your brain to handle discomfort. You might find yourself avoiding hard things effortlessly, feeling like fleeing is natural. The reason isn't weakness. It's because your brain has learned over time to steer you from stress or annoyance. This survival mechanism lives in all of us, but it's not set in stone like any habit. This pattern can be broken. The key isn't forcing yourself into pain. It's retraining your brain to see discomfort as a chance for growth, to recognize that what feels hard now might change your life later. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. The peak, your goal, seems impossibly far. You can't leap there in one bound. All you can do is take one small step, then another. This is how you reprogram your mind. Don't wait for a magical moment of transformation. Work steadily. Even if the path isn't clear, start by naming what you avoid. What conversation, habit, or project have you dodged? Be brutally honest, but not harsh. Write it down. Try viewing the situation objectively, as if a friend were telling you their story. What would you see clearly? Sometimes we're so stuck in suffering we don't even notice it, but admitting it is the real starting point. Remember Marcus Aurelius's words, you have power over your mind, not Outside events, this sums it all up. You can't control how hard challenges are, but you can choose how to respond. Here's the next step. Shrink the challenge. Your brain resists enormity. It wants to protect you, so instead of thinking, I need to fix,